The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and non-gender conforming individuals to another episode of The Benjamin Dixon Show. Today is Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, and I am officially bringing back my traditional greeting that I did for years when we streamed live every night from Boston, Massachusetts. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-gender conforming individuals. Why is that, you may ask? Well, because we are really entering into the stupidest phase of American history, as evidenced by this clip of a father who said he indoctrinates his son 90 minutes a day with the following rhetoric.
My name's Cooper, and I'm a boy. I'm a boy, and my name's Cooper. I'm Cooper, and I'm a straight white boy. I'm a white, straight boy, Cooper. Cooper, the straight white boy. I'm a white, straight boy named Cooper. Cooper's my name. I'm straight, I'm white, and I'm a boy. I identify as he. I'm a man, a boy, a white, straight boy, and I believe in God, kind of.
Cooper's definitely going to grow up to be a transgender, transracial, lesbian, black woman who teaches critical race theory at the university. We'll discuss this ridiculousness and much more later in today's episode. But first, you recall the state superintendent of schools in the state of Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, who did not want the Tulsa race massacre to be taught based on the fact that black people were killed because of their race. Well, for his second trick, he is now advocating for the Bible to be directly taught in public schools.
And instead of allowing Biden and the unions to inject their ideology through graphic pornography like genderqueer and flamer, we want the Constitution, we want the Bible in our schools where kids understand our nation's history and what has made this country great.
So you actually want to not put the Bible in schools, but teach from the Bible in schools, which is something which I think the Supreme Court ruled against many, many years ago.
Well, yes, sir, and we need to take a look at this. The reality is the Bible is a foundational document in our country's history. Read the founders, read their letters, listen to what these men and women said about why founding a country with the freedom of religion, the free exercise of religion was so important.
Is it surprising to anyone that the same people who want to ban the teaching of America's racist history, what America has done not only to black people, specifically to black people, but also to other minorities in this country, is anyone surprised that that same exact group of people now want to teach the Bible in schools? Now, if you haven't been listening to my podcast for a long time, and you may know me from the real world, you may wonder why I, as a black preacher, am so opposed to the teaching of the Bible in school. It's precisely because the people who want to teach the Bible in schools are also the descendants of those individuals who use the Bible as a justification for slavery. They are the philosophical and sometimes the biological descendants of those people who use the Bible as justification for Jim Crow. They are the descendants of the people who use the Bible as a justification for lynching black people on Sunday morning before, during, and after their services, church services. Now, that's just me as an individual black man, but we collectively, the people, we clearly understand what free exercise of religion actually means. It means that no one should be forced to learn or comply with a religion that they don't voluntarily subscribe to. But I do appreciate the fact that we're finally here at this intersection where white evangelicals are no longer even trying to hide the fact that their religion, their real religion, is white supremacy, and that is what they want to teach. That's exactly what they want to teach in these schools, using the Bible as a cover to give them this plausible deniability that they're really just out here doing the Lord's work, when underneath it, we see very clearly that they are rooted deeply in hatred, bigotry, especially white supremacy. You want another example? Remember yesterday, Tommy Tuberville, we shared his clip of him saying that white nationalism isn't racist, but it's actually just America.
You said a white nationalist isn't American, but a white nationalist is someone who believes horrific things. Do you really think that's someone who should be serving in the military?
Well, that's just a name that has been given. I mean,
it's not. It's a real definition. There's real concerns about
extremism. So if you're going to do away with
extremism.
most white people in this country out of the military, we got huge problems.
It's not.
We
It's
got huge problems.
It's not people who are white. It's white nationalists.
That have a few probably
you see the
different
distinction,
beliefs.
Right?
that have different beliefs. Now, if racism is one of those beliefs, I'm totally against it. I am totally against racism. But there's a lot of people that believe in different things.
Is racist, Senator.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's your opinion. Well, if you want to see how racism, the white supremacist movement in the Republican Party, the conservative movement, if you want to see how it pairs so perfectly well with white evangelicalism, listen to this tweet from Tony Perkins, who's the leader of the Family Research Council, which is one of the largest organizations pushing the white evangelical agenda. This is what he said about Tuberville. The clip that you just listened to, this was his response. He said, quote, "Tuberville is a hero. Senator Tuberville is a hero. Don't buy the left's deception. Tuberville's stand against unlawful abortion facilitation in the military does not affect national security or military readiness. The bigger issue is why are Democrats desecrating the rule of law to push abortion on the military?" Wait a minute, Brother Perkins, you came out to defend Senator Tommy Tuberville after he said this about white nationalism, and you're saying don't believe the left's deception. You want us to believe that this is it, that his stance on white supremacy and white nationalism is something to be ignored because he's opposing abortion? Look at how seamlessly these bigotries are interwoven together. How white evangelicals and white nationalism pair perfectly well together. This is why that superintendent, the state superintendent, Ryan Walters from Oklahoma, this is why he in one breath will say that he does not want us to teach the history of the Tulsa Race Massacre. And in the next breath, he says he wants us to teach the Bible in schools. And I'm supposed to be impressed with this because I'm a Christian? No. The truth is, we know very well exactly what this entire movement is about. This movement is about restoring America to the time when the only people had rights in this country were white, Christian, straight, land-owning men. Not women, definitely not black people, not black women, especially not black women. But we are living through one of the most significant pushes of white supremacy that we have experienced in any of our lifetimes. This is a concerted effort. They are strategic. They have a long-term strategy, and now they are making their big push. Their big push is very clear and very transparent. They are as equally racist as they are homophobic. They are as anti-woman as they are anti-black. And I know full well that they would never allow a liberation theology, the theology that interprets the Bible through the lens of justice. They would no more allow that to be taught in schools than they would allow critical race theory to be taught in schools. These people are as anti-science as they are anti-Christ. They are the bad guys in the book of Revelations. They think they're on the side of God, and they are literally bowing before the fatted calf that is Donald Trump and white supremacy. Hear a racist dog whistle? No? What about a racist bullhorn? From Kentucky Senator Rand Paul yesterday during a Senate hearing with regard to the potential merger between the PGA Golf Tour and the Saudi Arabian-backed Live Tour. There was a moment where Rand Paul just could not help himself but used this as an opportunity to bemoan antitrust laws, generally speaking, but specifically, he attacked the fact that NCAA athletes now have the ability to make money off of their likeness. Listen to what he said.
The court ruled unanimously that the NCAA can't invoke their rules. And so they've completely screwed up college athletes. We used to be proud. Many of us loved watching amateur athletes that weren't paid. Now everybody that plays basketball in college is going to be driving a Bentley or a Rolls. I mean, we're going to be seeing rap stars instead of basketball stars. I mean, this is crazy. But you know why it happened? Because Congress sat around and said, oh, well, because of antitrust, we can't let the NCAA do it. It went to the court, and the court made the ruling, unfortunately, a unanimous ruling based on the law. So the law's got to change. Antitrust shouldn't be involved with association.
What is it with libertarian type people who they claim they're for the free markets, but they want to use the force of law to restrict this specific case, right? This is one that really reveals that deep down, they only believe in the free market as it benefits, one, white supremacy, whiteness, right? But I mean, because listen, who do you think he's attacking specifically in this clip? You know, when he says that we're not going to see basketball stars, we're going to see rap stars, and they're going to spend their money on Bentleys. Well, first of all, if they choose to spend their money on Bentleys, you know, shame on them for being so reckless with their money, but that's their prerogative, right? Isn't that what America's about? Being able to spend your money, make your money, and then spend it however you see fit. So he's clearly using a bullhorn, not even a dog whistle here, because he understands that now the athletes, student athletes, can make money off of their likeness instead of all of that revenue just being locked up with that university that gives these kids full scholarships. Yeah, but that's it. You know, they make billions. What am I saying? Billions. They make billions of dollars every single year off of the likeness of so many athletes who are probably predominantly black. Right? If we go through it, there's going to basketball, football, whatever category. There are the top performing athletes on the collegiate level. They're overwhelmingly black. And this is what Rand Paul has a problem with. Now, he also has a problem with antitrust laws. Now, this is where he likes to fancy himself to be a true libertarian because he doesn't think that the United States government, or any government for that matter, should be involved in regulating the markets. But here he is saying that at the opportunity for young people to actually make money off of their skill, while their bodies are getting thrashed just as much as in the NFL, mind you, right? While these kids are putting their bodies on the line, all they used to get was just a full scholarship and a meal plan. And Rand Paul is saying that we just used to like watching them, you know, when they were amateurs, and now they're going to get Bentleys and they're going to get Rolls Royces and they're going to be rap stars instead of basketball stars. I mean, honestly, exactly who do you think he is what image is he trying to conjure up in the minds of the people listening to him who support him? He's doing his best to ensure, particularly, that black athletes do not get an opportunity to get ahead in college. That's what he's trying to ensure. Generally, let's really think about this libertarian idea of free markets. They are completely committed to ensuring that the powerful and those that are already rich have no responsibility to pay fair wages, to pay anything. This is what he wants. He wants free labor. And not only just your average type of labor, right, which is significant and which is important. I'm talking about the type of labor in sports that puts your body on the line and breaks your body. He wants these students to get nothing. And he's so committed to it that he just says this in front of the entire world. He genuinely believes that the right thing to do in these cases is to ensure that black folks who might end up looking like rap stars instead of basketball stars don't get any money in college for the universities making billions of dollars off their images and their likeness. This is what Rand Paul really stands for. This is what the Libertarian Party stands for. This is what white supremacy stands for in this country. They need to be able to exploit as many people as possible without the interference of the government, because that's when they believe America was great.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and get twice the content and unfiltered interviews without any of the commercial interruptions. Welcome back to The Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I received a message from a friend of the show, and I consider him in many ways to be a mentor in this independent media space, Roland Martin. I received a message from him this morning regarding his call. He is officially calling for all black athletes to boycott Texas A&M University, which is his alma mater. I want you to just think about the significance of that. He is calling for black athletes all around the country to boycott his alma mater, Texas A&M University, because of how they have treated and what they have done to famed journalist Kathleen McElroy. Kathleen McElroy, who is herself a graduate of Texas A&M, was the director of the University of Texas at Austin School of Journalism between 2016 and 2022. This is according to the TexasTribune.org. where she is a tenured professor. Earlier, she spent 20 years in various editing roles at the New York Times until heading to the UT Austin to pursue her doctorate. She has been offered, or rather she was offered, a position to revitalize the journalism department at Texas A&M University. She accepted the offer, and almost immediately after accepting the initial offer, the university backed down, changed the terms of the contract in order to try to please Texas conservatives who are on a mission, along with conservatives all around the country. They are on a mission to destroy diversity and inclusion. And while Professor McElroy is heading up the journalism department, she got caught and wrapped into this war against all things diversity and inclusion. I want to read you a bit more from the Texas Tribune. In the last several weeks, McElroy told the Texas Tribune that the deal with Texas A&M fell apart. In the days after the signing ceremony, in which she signed her contract in front of the entire university with much fanfare and applause, mind you, in the days after the signing of the ceremony, she said A&M employees told her an increasingly vocal network of constituents within the system were expressing concerns and issues with her experience at the New York Times and with her work on race and diversity in newsrooms. Now, also according to the Texas Tribune, the offer that she initially signed was revised multiple times until the point where McElroy said, forget it, I'm just going to stay at the University of Texas, Austin. This is the real life ramifications of the push against diversity and inclusion. It's not just an attack on the philosophy and the thinking behind the departments that are using diversity and inclusion as a way of making their universities and their businesses diverse and inclusive. It is a push against all things black. It is a push against all things that they label, quote unquote, woke. And as a result, Roland Martin, himself a famed journalist, has called for all black athletes across the nation to boycott the Texas A&M University, which is his alma mater. Let me play a clip of him saying as much.
If you are a star athlete in any sport and you are African American, do not put Texas A&M on your list until they fix this. Reinstate the offer to Kathleen McElroy. Give her tenure. Apologize to her. Now, she probably is going to turn you down, just like Nicole Hannah-Jones turned down the University of North Carolina when they screwed her over and decided to go to Howard University. But they should do right by Kathleen McElroy because they have disrespected her and they have embarrassed her by what they have done. And I, as a Texas A&M graduate, as a black journalist, a person who is a founding member of the National Association of Black Journalists chapter at Texas A&M University, will not sit here and be silent by what they have done. I will never wear my Texas A&M pin on the air. I will not shout this university out, and you will not see me wearing the gear on this show because you don't deserve it, because you are showing how you treat black former students. They may say, well, we don't care what Roland Martin has to say. Oh, sure, he's a 1991 graduate. Sure, his sister's a 1992 graduate. Sure, his brother's a 1990 graduate. Sure, his wife's sister is a graduate of A&M. Sure, his sister's husband is a graduate of Texas A&M. But I can tell you what's not going to happen. You will never get my money. I can tell you what's not going to happen. You're not going to see me representing this university in any capacity whatsoever. Because if this is how you will treat a Kathleen McElroy, we know exactly how you will treat a Roland Martin and the other black graduates who come through this institution.
The Writers Guild of America strike is over 2 months old, and we are on the verge of yet another strike. The Screen Actors Guild is considering striking, and I believe in the next day or so. And this is in response to the lack of livelihood that is able to be made by writers and actors in Hollywood right now, especially with writers getting pennies for their work on some of the most popular streamed shows on the internet today. Well, there's a report from Deadline.com written by journalist Dominique Patton that states the following, quote, Hollywood Studios' WGA strike endgame is to let writers go broke before resuming talks in the fall. And this is an exclusive to Deadline.com, who spoke directly with an executive from Hollywood. And I want to read you the following quote specifically. It says, the end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, a studio executive told Deadline. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterated the statement. One insider called it a cruel but necessary evil, end quote. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about companies like Amazon, Netflix, Disney, right? Warner Brothers, all of the major streaming platforms right now who are making billions upon billions of dollars every quarter, not every year. Each company is making tens of billions of dollars every single quarter, and they are committed to starving out the very people who make that wealth possible. Is this not exactly what this country wants? Like, this is exactly the goal, to be able to exploit labor without any ability of labor to organize to protect itself. I want to go back to a clip that I played earlier. I didn't make mention of it then at the beginning of the show, but I want to make mention of it now. I want you to listen to the exact phrase that the state school superintendent from Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, the guy who is trying to ban critical race theory but wants to put the Bible back in schools. I want you to listen to exactly how he prefaces his explanation of why we need to put the Bible back in schools.
And instead of allowing Biden and the unions to inject their ideology through graphic pornography like genderqueer and flamer.
Biden and the unions. Now, of course, he's talking about the teacher unions, because in a previous clip, he stated that he believes that the teacher unions are a terrorist organization. But this is the mentality of conservatives toward unionization, period. The wealthy in this country, the conservative movement, even those who aren't remotely wealthy, even it's so amazing to me that people who would benefit from organizing in a union would rather oppose unions because their party tells them to do so. But the conservative movement, who overwhelmingly represent the rich in this country, they understand that the biggest threat to their bottom line, their personal bottom line, not the success of their business, the threat to them being able to get golden parachutes is the fact that the workers in this country still have a right to organize into unions. And they perceive that threat as something that must be crushed. And this goes beyond just the ongoing hatred that's towards the teacher unions. It's 100% connected to what's going on in Hollywood right now. They would rather starve the writers than to pay them literal livable wages. Have you seen any of those TikToks where people describe their checks that they got, their royalty checks from writing for some of the top streaming programs on the internet? They literally get checks that are less than $1 for the work that they did creating the wealth for these individual executives who make tens of millions of dollars every single year. This is the type of world that conservatives want, that Republicans want, that libertarians want. They want a world where the individual worker is isolated, alienated, and exploited without the legal ability to join in solidarity with other workers to have collective bargaining agreements. They are committed to creating a world where you as an individual have to go at it alone, while they, as the richest people on the face of the planet, have the ability to organize by sheer virtue of their wealth. And this is why it's so seamless for someone like Ryan Walters from Oklahoma to weave together his hatred for the Democratic Party and unions, and then he just puts it one breath away from his hatred of blackness because he's attacking the ability to teach history accurately. These issues all go together. They work hand in hand. But if I could just flip it on its head, this is why we absolutely have to break open our silos. We absolutely must go across our individual issue group, our individual identity, our individual cause, and work in solidarity with one another. This is why I support unions so much. Anytime I can amplify a union message, anytime I can help push a strike, anytime we can help workers, it is incumbent upon us to do so, whether you are in a union or not. It is important that you support the LGBTQIA community, whether you're LGBTQIA or not. It's important that you fight against white supremacy side by side with black people, whether you are black or not. The people who are working against us know very clearly each individual group that they oppose. They know that they collectively are going to oppose unions. They're going to oppose black people. They're going to oppose the LGBTQIA community. They're going to oppose women's rights. They're going to oppose Islam. They're going to oppose Jews. They're going to oppose every single